All right, then I would say this is Coach's Coffee Corner, episode 1. I never thought that I would say something like that. So, hi Gene, hi Kevin,
Hello.
and welcome everyone who's listening to us right now. Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's exciting, guys. Did you bring? First question. Did you bring your coffee? It's 10. No, it's 11 a.m. right now. Water. I'm 100% prepared. I brought my thermos bottle with my coffee. I brought it. So,
Good job, David.
and that actually leads me directly to our topic for today. Okay, it's going to be sleep. And my first question is, have you ever done a caffeine nap? Do you know what it is? And have you ever done a caffeine nap?
Do it often. So what I do is I drink an espresso. Boom, right away.
Oh wow.
And
Oh wow.
yeah.
Someone is getting a call.
I'm sorry.
That's semi-professional.
Okay, you can. Let's start over again. Huh?
All over again. Hold on.
Let's start over again.
Hold on.
Uh,
Hello, boy. Hey, love, I have to go. We were doing the little Bodnar thing, and you go right in the middle. It's okay. It's okay. This guy.
Hey, that was worth it.
Oh, wow.
That was worth it. We're gonna start again. All right, so topic is sleep. We talked about coffee. We said topic is sleep, and I want to know from you guys: do you know what a caffeine nap is, and have you ever done one?
Kevin, take it away.
yes.
No, you
So
know.
a caffeine nap for me, and I think that's what Jacob is referring to, is you would drink an espresso or something quickly. You would lay down. You would sleep. And then when you rise, so when the caffeine actually builds up and activates those systems like the,
Chemicals.
yeah, exactly, to wake you up, this is exactly how much time it is for you to take a power nap. So normally it's around 20 to 30 minutes. So you would wake up from yourself and you would feel the coffee is working, you're ready to go. So sometimes I do this even before a workout. I love it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never really tried it. I definitely was new to it listening to this podcast, but I'm definitely going to throw it in my daily if I can fit it in between the wife and kid.
Perfect. So then, Gene, for you, the procedure, just what Kevin just said. You drink your coffee, you take your nap, and then you basically automatically wake up after 20 to 30 minutes. After 20 to 30 minutes, when the caffeine kicks in, and that's a great thing, because I think we all know that. You take a nap and you wake up like, what year is today? Because your nap was just way too long, and maybe you woke up in a deep phase of your sleep, and that's definitely not what we want. And also what we don't want, speaking of naps, we don't want to take them too close to our bedtime, right? Because that's also going to affect our sleep at night. Agree?
That is
Agreed?
Sure.
Agreed or agreed?
I agree.
Okay. Cool. Then we have something new for Gene. That's perfect. Okay, something to try out. You can tell us next week if it worked or not. And then I brought actually a second question I'm interested in. So, do you guys have any bedtime routines? So the routines that help you falling asleep, something you always do before you go to bed.
Gene can kick it off.
My bedtime routine, as I've told you guys, has changed just based on I have a 4-month-old now, and prior to that, it was mainly just play as hard as I can during the day, and then try to just use that play to crash at night. Now you can't really get away with that just based on because the sleep is getting less and less the more you're not regulating that bedtime routine. So like listening to this podcast and talking with you guys, I think it's crucial that you really focus on that bedtime routine. For me, I'm gonna have to wake up at 4 every day, no matter what. So if I'm not getting into like nighttime mode at the end of my day, then it's probably not gonna happen. And if I can just be proactive with that nighttime routine, that way, if something does arise at night where I'm not getting that much sleep, I can just go back to that every day or every night, just so that I can ensure that I get enough sleep. Hopefully that makes sense.
Makes sense. Kevin, what about you?
I had no routine before, but I always tried to be in bed for 9 hours. So I would always put my alarm 9 hours ahead, so that I have at least my 8.5 to close 9 hours of sleep. But right now, after reading, I read the book Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. It actually all changed, and I became a little bit more obsessed with sleep. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to put my phone away, put it on flight mode, put it out of my room. Same for my laptop. At least 1 hour before I go to bed. I also try not to watch TV. Of course, there's times where, because of the girlfriend or because of other situations, you need to be alive before you go to bed. So then I actually use I have these blue light blockers glasses, which help me to fall asleep a little bit faster, making sure these hormones that you produce are getting higher and higher, so I fall asleep and I would sleep a little bit better. And then normal stuff like putting or getting my room as dark as possible. My window is always open, even if it's -10, so I'm always sleeping in a very cold room. I think that is it. What I always do. Those are the small things I try to do to make sure I have enough quality sleep.
Yeah, super many interesting things. First of all, first thing, I saw you wearing those goggles. Look super cool, by the way. And other than that, you said you always open. Like you started to talk about the environment, right, of your bedroom, basically. So it's dark, it's cool.
Yeah.
And then you said you open your window, right? So many of us, maybe many of our listeners, they live in the city. And for example, I have the issue that I have to decide, do I open my window? Do I make that room cool? But then I get a lot of noise because the street is directly in front of my window. So I always have to make this decision. Do I want to have it like no noise, or do I want to have it cool in my room?
Well, I can attest to that because I have a street light right above my window in my room, and basically, if I leave my window open, that light is shining in, so it's kind of ruining the blackness of the room. So what we do is just open the window prior to bedtime, like 2 or 3 hours prior, get the room as cool as possible, and then just use that coolness trapping room because the insulation here is just amazing. So that's what we do.
Yeah. Light, darkness, that's an interesting point too, because our sleep rhythm, is set by the circadian rhythm, which is determined by light. So daylight actually. And maybe short remark for our listeners. So beside everything we bring into that conversation individually, based on our experience, on our knowledge, we also listen to that one podcast with Emily Capodilupo, who is like a sleep expert and vice president of data science and research at Whoop, a company that dedicates basically its existence to sleep and recovery. So we all listened to that podcast, and what she said is that 80 lux of light, like already telling your body, it's not time to sleep. And 80 lux it's basically nothing. Like you can't read, but you can still see your hand in front, So it's really important to have that room dark. That's what I actually want to say. And this number was just, I remember that number, 80 lux, because she explained how little 80 lux are, and it's nothing, and it still affects your sleep.
That's a great point. And I think in the podcast she was saying that I think with that test they did with 100 of their best sleep efficiency users, most of them, or majority of them, had a nighttime routine. And I think with that nighttime routine, as far as what I do, I just shut all lights off and we light candles. I know it sounds kind of weird, but we use candles instead of actual light, and it kind of puts the mood and gets you into sleeping mode. We do that, of course, for our baby boy, but using it for ourselves, it helps just as well. So
I can imagine. Yeah. All right. And then speaking of that podcast, another thing Emily said was our bodies know things before we actually realize those things are happening, like internal physiological things. And she said, based on that, she said something which I found super smart and interesting. Our body anticipates sleep. Our body anticipates sleep. And coming back to our bedtime routines, I think that's a super interesting point, because we can basically prime our body to, like, in terms of sleep consistency, do the same thing every night and then go to bed at a certain time. So then the melatonin, our sleep hormone secretion increases like 2 hours before our body anticipates sleep. This melatonin level goes up, which is perfect because that definitely helps us to fall asleep. So what I personally do is I do my, I know Gene will laugh now, but I do my yogility, like yoga, mobility, something, 20 minutes.
Makes sense.
Every night. And yeah, I told you already, it's fascinating because I almost fall asleep on the mat. Not even like, I barely make it into my bed, and it's just always around, like, not the exact same time, but approximately. And it works.
Yeah, I'm not doing any movement before, but what I sometimes do is I would take a very hot shower, which makes me tired, like boom, instant. Or this is what I've been doing since I was a little boy. I'm still little, but a little bit older now. I would drink tea before bed, always. And maybe this can be exactly what Jacob says. It's like, even if there's like tea, there is some stuff in there that keeps you awake. It's the drink that actually starts this process of you falling or getting into bed or falling asleep faster.
Well, I think it's that comfort, right? You get that comfort in your hand, something warm.
True.
They talked a little bit about chocolate has some caffeine, so hot chocolate might be something to stay away from. But they actually debunked the myth of drink a glass of warm milk, which I always thought was like just like something that your mom would say when you were little, but it actually has a ton of melatonin in it. Almost as much as tart cherry juice, which is, or I think maybe more, but that would be another option. I know warm milk doesn't always sound appealing, but it would help you get into that sleep rhythm or get your mind shifted into, okay, now it's sleep time. And that's kind of what I wanted to like hit home with, was that it's better to be proactive on your sleep routine, similar to a training program that you're just following something. And then you can react if something bad happens, or if your sleep gets altered that night, you can just go back to it to the next day. So if you have that routine, drinking a tea, warm milk, stretching, lighting candles, then you can kind of react off that day by day based on what happens. Because we all know that I know myself, I probably got 1 or 2 nights these last 4 months of 8 hours of sleep. And not everybody realistically gets 8 to 10 hours every night. But if you can go back to that and at least shoot for that and have a plan for that, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Love it. Maybe your baby boy will share his warm milk with you.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Anyway, doesn't matter if it's a hot shower or warm milk. Eventually, it helps actually our which is kind of counterintuitive, but our body core temperature goes down, which also helps to fall asleep. So that's again two super interesting points. Yeah. All right, guys.
What I do. I also always do breathing. So
there we go.
I would read in my book for at least 15 minutes. Then I would put my book away. The room is dark, and then I would do 5, 6 like sets of breathing. And I would always use like something with a long exhale to make my parasympathetic nervous system gets activated, and even I have more chances to fall asleep faster. So that's also something I forgot. Maybe that's also good for the people watching this, that breathing
Absolutely.
can also calm yourself and calm the nervous system down to make sure you have a beautiful, restful sleep to be able to be 100% the next day.
Well, I mean, that is a super relevant point, right? Because we want to make sure everything is calm. The music, the breathing, just the holistic ability that you can, it's free, you know? We don't have to take a pill or a drug just to get us to sleep, or we don't have to compound that not being able to sleep for a week on end or trying to catch up on the weekend. We can do it every day with simple tasks such as breathing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, love it. So to summarize what we just said, we basically want to focus on a sleep consistency, including a bedtime routine before. We want to focus on sleep efficiency, making sure our environment, darkness, we talked about all of that, is as perfect as possible based on what we can do at home. And then maybe we can add some little specials like a caffeine nap on top of that. But making sure our sleep consistency, our sleep efficiency is as good as possible. Plus we get our hours of sleep that we just need, which is always, I mean, you can tell me how many hours. Kevin already told us. Gene, for you it's difficult at the moment. For me it's actually, I feel like I don't need that much sleep. Like most people say 8 to 9 hours. Actually, I feel good with 6 to 7, and that's highly individual. Anyway, sleep consistency, sleep efficiency, and in general getting those hours of sleep that we need. All right. Anything else from you guys? Something you want to, what you have on your tongue and what you want to tell us?
Just be realistic, be honest. Like, you're not going to get perfect sleep every night, but as long as you're having the approach to the end of your day that you're going to shut things down and go into nighttime mode, that's the most important message I think to send out to everybody.
Love it. Love
Yes,
it.
exactly.
We aim for the best possible based on what we can do. Okay, I think that's a perfect wrap up for this first episode of Coach's Coffee Corner. So thanks, guys. Hope our listeners and the guys who watch this thing enjoy it. And that's it for today, I would say.
Thanks for having us.
Perfect.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your coffee. See you next time. Cheers.